All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at dimensioning object number 2 from activity 124, fundamentals of dimensioning. So what I've done here is I'm going to kind of optimize Fusion's top-down modeling approach, and I'm going to go back up to, I'm going to activate the top level of the file, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off drawing object number 1. So always make sure you come back, once you're done with one object, always make sure you come back and activate the top level component in your file. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create a new component, and this one I'm going to call drawing object 2, and I'm going to go ahead and say OK. So, and then I went ahead and hid drawing object number 1, so that way we're not going to see that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create a new sketch. I'm going to choose the same front work plane, and I'm going to start off with again, we want to start off with simple shapes. This has got a lot of different geometry pieces to it, so this is going to be a 3x3 inch block. So let me go ahead and get that zoomed in. So fully constrained, I'm going to say finish the sketch, put this into the home position, and extrude. This is going to be 1.5 in depth. And again, you know, the key is with 3D modeling is you always want to go through and you know, keep it very simple on your basics for the first sketch you create. All right, I'm going to say create sketch, select the front face, and using the line tool, I'm going to kind of click, and I'm going to create this kind of L-shaped pattern right here inside of the block. I'm going to go ahead and use the dimension tool, and from here to here, looking at the dimensions, this is going to be a 1 inch measurement, and then the same thing here from the edge. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and say extrude. So, and it looks like the extrusion is going to pick up the outside boundaries. I don't need to trace those, or I don't need to project those edges. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click, I'm going to go backward, and this is going to be a negative 0.75. So it's going to be cut back in like so. So that way we can go through and have that shape. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And then the only other thing we got is we got a corner missing. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new sketch. Click on this face. I can use a rectangle here. And our measurement on this one would be 1 by 1. So I can go ahead and put that in. Finish the sketch. Extrude. And then in this case, I could go ahead and say cut through all, and that way it cuts off this one. So here's drawing object number 2. So all ready to go for a drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the save button in our file. So we'll probably see a version 1 for dimensioning objects. I'm going to go ahead and activate, and in this case, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my drawing that I had before. And you're going to notice that here I've got a reference. So if I click on this, it will go through and actually now update, and you'll see we have our 2 objects that are going there. So for this first page, I want to go over here and I want to uncheck drawing object 2 and drawing object 2 from these particular cases. So that way we get our drawing back. To go through and set up for a second drawing, I'm going to click the plus sign down here, new sheet, base view. When we set up our base view, I'm going to go ahead and maintain the same 3/4 scale that I did on the first one. So from previous video, I'm going to click to place. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to uncheck drawing object 1. So that way it will not show up. So I'm going to go ahead and project and go ahead and place our views onto the sheet. Go ahead and shade our isometric view by double clicking on it and choose the shading option there. And from here, we can go through and kind of, let me see if I can get a little bit better placement. Okay, so as we take a look, we can start seeing what kind of objects do we need. I really think we're going to get by with not having to need the top view, but we'll see that. All right, so first thing I like to do is get the overall height, width, and depth. So here we go. Let's get the overall height. Again, I like to make sure to grab the corners, so then that way you've got appropriate gaps. So between your extension lines and your object, as noted by dimensioning guidelines. Okay, so as we take a look, if we see here from here to here, we can use from our knowledge there. We go through, we have a chain dimension. We're going to omit that last one, it's per dimensioning guidelines. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing going vertically. So as we have that as such. So the other thing too, as we end up taking a look, so we can get the overall depth here. So we've got height and width shown in the front view. We got 1.5, and then we need one of these to be communicated there. We could also pull it off the top view if we wanted to. So really, like I was thinking, we could probably get rid of that one. But, or you could have gotten rid of the right side and just had the top view. So, but this will finish out the drawing for dimensioning object number 2. So creating the model and putting this onto the drawing sheet. And you can take a look at the next video for drawing object number 3.